So we're here to solve this moderate difficulty Sudoku by Akash Doulani. It has a theme of rhombuses. You can see these the diamond-like shapes in the corners that have some interesting pattern to them. As typical for any Sudoku, I'm going to start by just looking at rows and columns for places I see, for instance, 2 digits, like I see 2 6s, so I look to place another 6. Having placed that 6, I'm coming down here to look again for more spots. There's nothing more on these rows that interesting. There are 2 9s, so I'm looking to place notes about a 9. 2 6s down here give me another 6. That doesn't quickly give me a 6 note up above, but I've got 2 8s, got 2 5s, gives me this 5, gives me this 5. Looking across those digits, I'm doing now a global search of 5s, and I'm seeing something interesting more at the top, and this wouldn't stand out until you start to search things, but this cell and this cell are gone, so 5 is one of these 2 cells, which actually now forces this 5, and that 5 over there. We haven't looked at the columns as much, so we've got 2 2s for sure, which places this 2, and now a 2 somewhere in the middle. Not much more I can do with that right now. I've got 2 7s in the center columns, which now have just one option for its last spot in the top box. We've got 2 6s, and that just fits into the middle, and nothing else that we can work off. We've got 2 3s, where we can place a note for another 3. We've got everything else is singletons, and so that's sort of first pass through the grid. Now we'll start to look a little bit at geographies of some shapes that may have some interest, and one thing that I'm seeing right now is I can still put in some notes in some of these boxes that have fewer cells. Like I can eliminate 2 of the cells and put the remaining 4s in like I just marked. Spaces like down here still have a few options, This 3 in the middle is interesting. One thing is we start to annotate boxes. For instance, there's still a lot of flexibility down here. I have 1, 4, 7, 9 as the numbers I can do, and there's nothing around them. But look at a different setup here. Here I do have 2 of the 4 numbers placed into the grid, and the thing that my notation will always have me do is look at the cell that's least annotated and say what are the 2 remaining numbers to place in that space. And the 2 remaining numbers placed in the space are 3 and 8, and there are only 2 spaces for the 3 and this last space for the 8. So I'm finding a naked single by just looking at how my notation is in the grid. With those 3s marked in, I actually see 3s eliminated here as well as the pointing pair from above. So these 2 are 3s, these 2 are 3s. The center box looks like 1, 2, 6, can't do too much with it. I can do more over here with this one pair that is eliminated from these cells and just has 2 left for it. So we really just have 4 and 7 left as numbers to place in this box, and so there could be another single to find down here with 4 and 7, but for right now I'm not seeing that. What I am now seeing as I keep going down the grid is that 7 and 7 eliminate here quick fast, and that actually gives me this last place for a 7, this last place for a 7. This note is the same as this note, so there must be a 7 in the 8th column in this middle box, and the only place for it is here, which puts in this. So get some quick eliminations that help us there. We still got a fair bit to do though, so looking now again through these sweeping things, this 2 coming up drew my attention, and as I scan across, this 2 going across also is pretty limited, so I've got a 2 that must be in the bottom box, which pushes up a 3, pushes down a 3, 2's coming across like this. 1 and 6 are left over, and I can finally put in a 6 note that I don't mind seeing in that number of cells. There has to be a 2 in the bottom box in one of those spaces. Again, just tracking the digits I've been recently looking at. And there's so much that could be going on down here, but the digits I'm seeing 1, 3, 4, 9. I'm mostly looking for 1, 3, 4, 9 in the column or row that eliminate the most, and the thing that's most useful is this 3 that puts 2 3s there, which eliminates this note and actually forces the whole bottom to be 3, 8, 2 by just tracking what I marked by my notes. That 8 puts a top 8 here, puts an 8 in one of these cells. The 2 puts a 2 up here, which will eliminate there, and that now gives us 1, 6, 1, 6. That 1 now forces the last 1 option we had before, which puts in this one, puts in a 1, 6. So we're making some quicker headway now. We have 4, 8 left in this row, nothing to do with that. But coming back maybe now to this bottom space, we do have some pairs we can start to mark in. There's a 4, 9 pair. Looking at the 4, 9 pair, I'm now coming at this column and seeing, oh, look, there's 4 and 9 in this row, so this is probably a single, and it indeed is. It can only be a 2. and the 4-9 pair is actually shared further above. The last 2 is going to be in that cell. This column has 1, 4, 7 as its last things, and this 4 says boom, put in that 4 right away. That gives us 7, 1. Puts in this 1, puts in this 3, which now forces finally the left box pretty quickly. The 3 moves that 3 in, and we've got 4, 9 now in the top, so these will only resolve when we get something pointing into them, like this, 9, 4, 9, 4. Those 2 4s give this 4, give this 1, give this 9. The remaining digits to place in this box include this 4, which moves an 8 over, which moves a 9 over, which moves a 6 down. Last 4 is here, last 8 in the row, another 8 there. We've got 5, 9 to place in the box, only these options. Gives a 5, gives a 6. Last digits are 1 and 9, which go like this. And again, like really tracking through the grid, scanning in different ways. Hopefully some of the observations I was describing, like how when your notes are pretty sparse in a space like this, we actually had a stage in the puzzle where we had notes in 3 of these cells, but not in this cell, and we could use that to identify that as a single. These are the kinds of ways you'll want to track that you've been looking through the right parts of a grid. At least when I'm doing speed solving, this is how I go about it. So hopefully you got a sense again of how I look through different Sudoku puzzles and could track the logic at the pace at which I was describing it. So we'll see you again soon.